right, welcome. We're live.
We're live
This
on
is
Facebook.
exciting. We've not done a live Facebook before. I'm Michelle Bowles,
And I'm Stephen Bowles.
and we are going to be hosting a retreat version of our Getting the Love You Want workshop, August 25th through the 30th in Thornbury, in a castle.
In England.
Yes, it's the only Tudor castle that you can stay in. And we wanted to talk a little bit about the workshop, the kinds of questions we typically get, and share with you our evaluations that we've been collecting over the years of doing this workshop, and why we think that some of the feedback how we took it into account to create this experience. So, anything you want to start off with?
I'm just really excited to be here and share our vision of the castle with people. And I'm just starting to get really excited about being at the castle.
Yeah. Well, I want to start off with an appreciation.
Okay.
Just how much I appreciate your support in this work that I do and your contribution to it.
So you appreciate my support in the work that you do and my contribution to it.
Yeah, and that you're here.
Thank you.
Usually you're behind the camera. I know you don't really like
That's
to
right.
be in
That's
front
right.
of the
This
camera.
is a growth edge for me. Yes.
Yeah.
May I send you appreciation?
Yes.
So I am still overwhelmed by your vision to do this project, and I admire your vision. Your vision to do this project is inspiring to me.
Thank you. Thank you for trusting in it. It's a big project.
Yeah.
So let's just talk a little bit about the kinds of concerns we typically hear about when people are calling to ask questions about attending this workshop. And then of course we can address any of the concerns you might have about attending it in this format, which is a retreat format. Probably the number one question I get is something along the lines of, my partner really values privacy and is very concerned about it being, like, our relationship challenges being made public in a group. And I think that was one of your concerns too before we attended.
Mm-hmm. I really didn't understand or want to deal with any kind of group setting to do therapy or that kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, because you're private and you typically don't like to even share in a group. Mm-hmm. You're a good listener.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
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 So in our regular workshops, we address this by providing private spaces for people to have the dialogues, to do the exercises. And we do invite the group to share anything that their questions or what they're learning, but that's all completely optional. And I think because I know you and I have such compassion for how hard it is for you, I think that's just something we really value.
Yeah.
Is making sure that every person only shares what they want to share.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think we do a really good job, and you particularly do a really good job of making it a safe space. And you're never forced to share anything publicly that you want to. And then you do have more private spaces to do deeper work together as a couple.
Right. And so in the castle, there'll be lots of private spaces. And we also are going to divide the couples into smaller groups. So you'll be with a group of maybe 4 or 5 other couples, and with your own individual leader to talk about anything you want to talk about, to share anything you want to talk about. So typically in any group, there are people who are really open and comfortable, and they're like, yes, please, we will demonstrate this exercise you just taught us how to do. We're happy to share. And then everybody can learn from those individuals who are comfortable with it, with sharing. Mm-hmm. And in a lot of those exercises, only one person of the couple has to share, and the other person's just in a listening role. So we always manage to navigate that in a way that the feedback is positive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense. And although I'm a therapist and there's another therapist attending as one of the other co-teachers, Perrette, and Roland is trained and you're trained in these tools and in this workshop, but aren't therapists. But even though there are therapists there, this isn't therapy. We're not going to be doing therapy. We're going to be teaching concepts, teaching tools, and then helping you, supporting you in going and practicing and learning communication tools, repair tools, romance tools, all the things that we think will help your relationship, not just during this retreat, but really forever, ongoing.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 These tools have transformed our relationship over the course of 30 years now.
Yeah.
Maybe we've been doing Imago 20 years, something like that, right?
Yeah, a long
but
time.
it's, they've been transformational. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why we do this. That's why we dedicate so much time and energy to doing this, because we want to, and we still struggle, right? And we're still learning, and these tools and the theory keep deepening our understanding of what's happening when there's a rupture between us, when there's conflict.
Right.
So we're still doing the work. It's not like we've arrived at some magical place.
Sure.
But we get unstuck, I think, easier and easier because we use the tools and we've learned to trust them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I wanted to share some of the feedback from previous workshops and kind of go through why we have decided that this 5-day retreat would be a good format. So this is a 6-day, 5-night retreat. So we get it on Sunday. We'll have time to tour the castle. Maybe, I think the garden tour is on another day, but we'll have a chance to get a tour and orientation to the castle. And we have exclusive use of the castle, the grounds, all the rooms in the castle. And then each couple will have their own private room with an en-suite bath, and the rooms are just, well, they're unbelievable, really.
Yes.
I can't believe how beautiful they are. I really felt like I was back in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. So we have a lot of other videos up that show some of the rooms, and we're going to be posting more about your experience there.
Yeah, I wish I had every space, but every room was designed completely unique, and so every time I walked in a new room, I was like, wow, like different colors, different furniture, different paintings. Really, each room is so special.
Nice.
That's our puppy, of course, on live. So some of the feedback, I'm going to read some of the positive feedback and some of the suggestions that we've taken into account. So one of the things that this person liked was the structured vulnerability with their partner. So they were able to, through the structure that we offer, they don't have to figure things out. They can just use the structure, and that invited some vulnerability. And a lot of times people are grateful for the fact that they can be vulnerable, but also that they've seen their partner be vulnerable. Like, this is something I've been working on for many years, is being more vulnerable. And when I am vulnerable, Stephen is so appreciative of that, because usually I am not vulnerable, working on it. And let's see, it was hard to fit it into a long weekend. I would like more time with the material, more days, perhaps over 2 weekends. So this is common feedback that the 3-day workshop that we typically do, we do Friday night, which is really just a get to know each other and just overview of what we're going to cover and a few videos. And then we have 2 full days, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and they're doing a lot of emotional work. And so it is tiring. And so we thought, well, if we could spread that out over 5 days, where there's more downtime, there's more time to kind of metabolize, digest, process what just happened between us, and and that it would help. It would just help the whole process. And so this is common feedback. I'm just grabbing this randomly. This is actually feedback from February 2017. So thank you, Brandon.
And along those lines, like, we're gonna have time and space to kind of integrate the work, but it's also gonna be very kind of pampering. We're gonna be in this
Yes.
amazing space with amazing food, I hear.
Yes.
Tell me about the food
Oh my
a little
gosh.
bit.
Well, that's actually one of the comments. Apparently my little snack table is not exceptional. Just according to maybe one or two people. But anyway, the food at Thornberry Castle, they have a different rating system. In the States, we would say like 5 stars or something. They have some awards, and I can't remember what they're called. They're like 3A or some rating. But they had a new chef when I was there, and every single thing, like, I'm a foodie, I'm pretty picky. Every single thing was just out of this world. They had very fresh baked bread just for me, like these little things they would bring to the table that was just like my own little loaf of bread. Fresh baked pastries. The coffee in the morning was amazing. A latte. I think I had a latte or a cappuccino. I think I had 2 coffees. For breakfast, I had fresh salmon and scrambled eggs. For dinner, I did like the full tasting menu, and just every single thing was so impeccably done. So yeah, I know we're gonna have incredible food, and I talked to the woman who's coordinating this for us, and we will be ordering off the menu for breakfast. So it's not a buffet or anything like that, and we'll be ordering off the menu for dinner. And I think it's a 3-course dinner for every meal, except for on our very last evening when we're having a big celebration and dressing up and all that. It will be like a 6-course meal.
Right.
Yeah. So, and then the alcohol pairings for those people who do drink were phenomenal. The wines were phenomenal. So, yeah. So that kind of leads me to one of the questions people have had, which is the price. So
Yeah.
it is pricey. It's, if you want a suite, I think it's $7,000 per person, like $7,500 per person. And that makes sense. That is a lot of money. So, you know, that can be a little conflicting because obviously we want to be inclusive of as many people as possible. But in order to pull off this vision the way we wanted to do it, we opted for exclusive use of the castle. So there will be no one else besides the couples, us, and the staff. And that means that we have, you know, much more privacy and just a beautiful sense of like feel of safety there. I think with like, eventually you'll know everybody, probably their first name. You'll know your little small group well, and then we can have our own special events too while we're there. So we're still looking at what makes sense, but we're talking about stargazing one night. If the weather's good, just laying out blankets, having hot chocolate, just having some nice, beautiful, romantic time on the lawn. We'll have a garden tour, and then we were talking about maybe, I think, falconry or something very castle-esque.
Cool.
For activities. We'll definitely try to do yoga every day just because, well, we're in our 50s. We need to stretch our bodies.
Sure.
And move our bodies.
Yep.
So anyway, that's part of why the cost is high. The food, the lodging, our time, all the materials that we'll be giving for you, first class, and then just the exclusive use. So, and I think a lot of retreats are around that price. Like a nice retreat is around that cost. And if you don't want the suite, the cost is lower for the mid-size rooms and for the standard room, which are still deluxe,
amazing, right?
Yes, it's so deluxe.
Yeah.
But the suites have the bathtubs, which, you know, I love to take a bath. Although it'll be summer, so it might not be cold in the castle, although it stays pretty temperate in the countryside of England.
Yeah.
But the suites have their bathtubs and things like that, and just more space. And then the mid-size rooms are still really big. So we will help you select your package and your room. Like, we'll help you figure out what you need. Some of the rooms are more accessible, so if you have trouble with stairs, you know, that's we'll help you navigate that whole question. Because the suites in the tower, the staircase is this winding circular stone stairs, and it's so beautiful, but it's a little bit of a climb.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's how we might get our exercise
All right.
up those
Sounds
stairs.
good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So let me just see. I'm not going to read the things they said about us because that's a little embarrassing, but we are loved for the work we do. I'll just say that. Somebody attended. What factor was instrumental in your decision to attend? So I'll just read a couple of these. Desire to move past a hard divorce and learn new skills for communication. I want to just say this is a common attendee in our workshop, is somebody who's done the workshop previously, but their relationship was just like really in a tough spot when they did it the first time with their partner, and they just couldn't recover for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
But then they are single, they meet somebody, and then they bring their new partner to the workshop because they realize, like, we have to start this process early.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't believe that any relationship is past repair. And I also believe in everyone's right to make that decision.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, but we're definitely rooting for every couple to find a way to make a repair.
Absolutely. We're there to support everyone who shows up. One of the basic tenets of Imago is everyone makes sense, both sides make sense. You know, that's, you know, we're there to support people.
Yeah. And we've been through really difficult repairs.
We have.
Yeah, major ruptures.
And Imago saved our bacon. It's like, you know, it's like it's really, you know, kept us together through challenging times.
Well, for me personally, I feel like it helped me build a lot of compassion to understand the choices you made that I made mean something terrible about me, like I don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And I would use these stories that really are from my history
Mm-hmm.
to interpret your decisions to mean that I don't matter. And Imago really helped me reevaluate that story and see how much I do matter to you. And my brain, of course, screens out all the positive and just focuses on the negative. And so that's been a big thing that I've worked on that I think has made a big difference, so that we could find ways to move forward and just forgive and learn from the past.
Yeah, absolutely. So meaningful.
It is meaningful. Yeah, and I think, I don't want to speak for you, but I think a lot of the decisions you made were based on your own stories.
Right, sure. That makes sense.
Like you have to do things all by yourself, or
don't ask for help, or you have to be perfect,
things like that we're now able to support each other in leaving behind those stories that they made sense when we were little, right, but aren't really helpful for us in our vision for our relationship. So we will be creating a vision for your relationship. We'll go through the tools the first 3 days, really 3.5 days. And then you'll be working on a vision for your relationship, how to move forward, how to repair, and really then the last day on Thursday, we'll be celebrating your vision. You will share it privately with each other, or if you want to share it in your small group, we'll be sharing the visions with each other, because I think we can really be inspired by other couples, right? Seeing their change and growth just through the retreat. And then, of course, we'll have a party in our fancy outfits and have dinner and all that, and take our vision with us. So let's see. This person, what factor was instrumental in your decision to attend? support from spouse and therapist, informational website, pain in my relationship around communication and validation, to establish best tools for new relationship, did a previous workshop with Michelle. She's excellent. Oh, I said I wasn't going to read those.
Okay.
So those are some of the reasons why people have attended, and then some of their feedback had to do with just really wanting more time, wanting more time, wanting things to start later so they could sleep in. So we can accommodate that in the castle because we're going to be there for the day. So we can, I think it's Thursday, we take the whole morning off and just let you sleep in, and maybe you'll, I don't know, take a bath or get a massage or do something relaxing. So we have downtime, just whatever that is. And then for the lunch times, we're having a picnic lunch one day.
Nice.
Yeah. And we'll have, of course, Thornbury Castle is infamous for their tea service. Their little cakes and macaroons and teas. So that we will have things like snacks.
Which I never knew that, when I was a kid, that tea meant, having all these desserts. That's really what it is. It's like dessert time when it's tea time. It's like,
Yes, little cakes and maybe little sandwiches. But we will have 2 hours off, so people can go into town and try some of the restaurants in town, or just take a break. I mean, we oftentimes will fast. We won't eat 3 meals a day, and so, we can adapt. If you are a 3 meal a day, you need lots of calories, let us know, and we will make sure that that's accommodated. But yeah, so we'll have downtime. We'll have time to sleep in some days. We'll have time to just take a walk through the gardens and think about our relationships and what we can give to the relationship and what we need.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is a pretty good summary of like some of the initial comments and kind of a point of view and your direct experience. Is there anything else that we haven't touched on that you want to share from being there and experiencing it? Well,
I think I want to just do a tiny bit of teaching.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think this will help you understand why this might be valuable to you. And then the workshop will allow you to take some of these ideas and really understand and examine them for yourselves. But if you think about the last conflict you had in your relationship, just any conflict, maybe you have a big one that you're trying to work through right now. If you stop and think about it, on the first level, it's content. It has to do with stories. It has to do with facts, details. This happened, you said this, you say that, and we're just at that content level. And what we help couples do is to listen to the content differently. So rather than just listening for the facts of what happened and what you thought or what I thought, I'm listening for what your unmet need is. So I'm listening to understand, well, what is it that you need here? Do you need me to just validate your perspective? Do you need me to change my behavior, like touch you more, or work on something in myself so that you know that your needs are important? And so part of the work is identifying what needs we're not having met and how they might relate to our history.
Right.
Because when I share with you that I need to matter to you, it can sound like a criticism, right? And put you on the defensive. Because then you're going to argue all the ways I do matter to you, right?
Yes.
And then we're down a rabbit hole.
Yes.
I'm shaking the
Thank you.
camera. Thank
Sorry.
you. He's my cameraman. He's my director. So understanding that if I say it like that I'm going to put you on the defensive. But if I can explain to you that I didn't feel like I mattered growing up,
Right.
why I didn't feel that way, the experiences I had that left me with that story that
Yes.
I don't matter. All of a sudden, your heart opens to me. And when our hearts are open, our problems start to shift, even dissolve
Yes.
in that connection that you want to help me with my I don't matter story.
Yes, because I can see the little girl in you that was hurt and what she needed in your adult self, and that
Yeah.
is so generates such empathy in me.
Yeah, and the same for me with you. It's like understanding that you felt very alone as a kid, and so you just got used to making all your decisions alone, thinking, well, it's up to me. And then when I feel left out of your decisions, I get hurt or argumentative, right? But if I can understand, oh, that makes sense, that this is your story.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to know that you matter. You need to know how much you matter to me
Yeah.
to feel safe enough to involve me in
Right.
your decisions.
Right. Right.
So we both have a similar unmet need, and that's true for most couples. So we struggle with this trust issue because of when these experiences happen to us, that they happen very little, and we didn't feel we could trust the people around us to keep us in their mind.
Right.
So we came in with this similar unmet need. So when you listen to the conflict from that perspective, it shifts the content.
Yeah.
Now the content looks completely different in light of this. And then the other layer that we work on is the different ways we adapted to the similar pain of not being able to trust the people around us. Whether they were trustworthy or not, we didn't feel as kids that we could trust them to take care of us the way we needed.
Right.
And then we adapted differently.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding that most of the time when we fight, we're fighting about our differences. And we're fighting about our defenses. What we do to manage the conflict. So I manage the conflict by problem solving and getting in there, and you manage the conflict by trying to regulate and get away from the conflict and trying to promote the harmony.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we're fighting about the defenses, we are wasting our time and energy because that's probably not going to change.
Right.
So on that level, most people are fighting about the way they fight, their defenses, which I recommend you stop doing that immediately. And most people fight about their differences and the different ways they adapted to their unmet needs. And so we're all unconsciously trying to get those needs met, but we adapt in different ways. So one person might be very politically involved and another person may be feel like there's nothing that they can do, and so why get involved? And those are different adaptations to probably both people care a lot about the world, but it's just a matter of how they adapted to the world. So we believe that that's where the conversation is best had, is on the differences and what things mean to us, what it means to be politically involved, what it means to not be politically involved. Just for an example, and just by listening and validating on that level, we are gonna, again, the content starts to shift and change from what we thought it was about.
Yeah.
And then if we can go to our unmet needs that are related to the different ways we adapted, our different perspectives on the content, that's when we get that empathy and compassion.
Yeah.
So that's the process we'll take you through, identifying what are your unmet needs, what are the adaptations, what are the defenses, and then where should you be focusing your conversations, and what are the tools to help you listen and share safely. And so that's really what we'll be working on in those 5 days.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah,
I'm really excited.
me too. So is there anything you just want to share? Because I know we've been through this so much. I'm a therapist, but sometimes hearing from the not therapist, the artist, the filmmaker, you know, the person who's married to a
civilian.
therapist.
Yes, right,
it's
right.
helpful.
Yes, as a civilian, it's frequently like, frequently I don't look forward to a workshop, but then when I show up at the workshop and I both, you know, I'll do a little bit of helping with demos and participating, and then also seeing people do the work. It always helps our relationship. Like, it helps me have empathy and compassion and understanding of you again and again. It always is amazing for our relationship when we do the workshop. And so, like, I have just learned that, like, even if I have some resistance, like, to that it's an amazing experience and powerful experience to participate in an event like this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so you don't really look forward to the workshops, which makes sense, because this is like there's some social aspect to it that you're going to see people, you don't know what's going to happen. But then you get there and you see how people are transforming, and it helps you build compassion, empathy for me, and it just helps our relationship.
You got it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe we'll go live again because this has been fun. And we also have a way for you to get on our calendars to have a private meeting if you have questions that you want to ask us.
Check out our other videos here, and also the website is gettingthelovecastleretreat.com, right? And that's where the calendar link is. You can get on the calendar and chat with us directly. We can schedule a time and chat about it. So just encourage you to check that out.
Can't wait to see you in Thornberry.
Ciao.